This is a quick tour of one of my favorite new utilities called AirServer that turns your Mac and recently a PC into an Apple TV-like companion for your iOS devices. So AirServer is a small app that runs on your Mac or now PC. You can see the icon up here in the menu bar at the top of the screen. And this can just run in the background, and basically what it does is turn your Mac into a receiver for AirPlay signals. So if your Mac was connected to a television or a projector, you could take an iOS device. I have my iPad here. On the iPad, you can go ahead and turn on AirPlay mirroring, and in the list of devices, which you can't see yet, but you'll see in a moment, my Mac is showing up as a device. So I will go ahead and turn on mirroring. And what happens is you can see a window opens on the Mac and it goes full screen. And now my iPad is mirrored to my Mac. So there's the AirPlay menu showing all of my available AirPlay devices. And you get really good responsive AirPlay mirroring. So this is the same functionality you'd get with an Apple TV, but here I'm doing it simply with the AirServer app. And I can scroll through my different screens of apps, launch any app that I want, and just as if I had AirPlay going. So it works really well. A new feature in the latest version, which is fantastic, and this is something the Apple TV can't do, which is mirror more than one device at the same time. So I also happen to have an iPhone 4S here that has AirPlay mirroring support, so I can go ahead and again choose my Mac as the AirPlay destination for mirroring, turn it on, and what AirServer will do is resize my screen to accommodate both devices. So in this case, now you're seeing my iPad on the left and my iPhone on the right, and both devices are live at the same time. So this is kind of exciting. Whoops. This is kind of exciting because you can actually now have multiple iPads in a classroom or multiple devices at a presentation, and both people can be using or putting their device on screen at the same time. And I was experimenting with this at school, and I had up to 4 devices all at the same time. And what's nice about the AirServer app is it automatically reconfigures the screen for the optimal arrangement of each device. So if I go ahead and turn off the AirPlay here on the iPhone, there we go. You'll notice it's going to resize for the iPad. So that's kind of fancy. If I go ahead and turn off AirPlay on the iPad, the window just goes away and the screen that I was at previously on the Mac comes back to the front. So I think that's pretty fantastic. There is an alternative option to AirServer that I played a little bit with before called Reflection app. And I'll just now go on my iPad and select my computer again in the list of AirPlay devices and turn on mirroring. And it works pretty much the same way, but you can see Reflection has one other feature that's a little bit different that I kind of like, is it actually puts a frame around the device that makes it look exactly like an iPad. So if I were wanting to record this as a screencast for a tutorial, it kind of looks a little bit more familiar because you can actually sort of picture the device, which I like. And you can do the same thing with the phone. So again, I'll go ahead and select my computer as the destination for AirPlay, and there you go. It does the same thing. So we can have both on at the same time, and I can select different things. So we have that same capability of sharing the screen, which I like. And you can actually hear if you wanted to actually have a white iPhone. How about that? I don't know if I can have a white iPad. Oh, look at that. Yes, I can. So 2 apps that if you have a Mac in your classroom already and iOS devices, you don't need an Apple TV to get mirroring going, which I think is pretty fantastic. Of the 2 apps, I think I prefer AirServer because I like the full screen effect. It does that on its own, and then when you end your AirPlay session, it minimizes and goes back, returns the Mac to the back the way it was. but both apps work okay. I think I find AirServer to be a little bit more stable as well and more responsive. I didn't mention off the top, but for this to work, both the Mac and the iOS devices have to be on the same Wi-Fi network. Otherwise, they can't see each other. AirServer also has some nice discounts available for educators and a site license available if you wanted to deploy this widely in your school. So both apps definitely worth checking out.